Hey, what's up everybody? Video 44 coming at you in another video. Alright, so we had a couple trades that I get a chance to announce. And the reason why I say it that way is because the first trade that was made I did not announce. And it turns out that because I didn't, another trade has been made. So I'm going to be able to make up for it by announcing them both at the same time. So a few days ago, the Hawks traded Vit Krejcik, and I don't know how to pronounce his name, so it's K-R-E-J-I-C, to the Thunder for Mo Harkless and draft considerations, right? Okay, so Mo Harkless became a Thunder at that point. Now they're trading him again. That's why this all ties in. Mo Harkless, along with Derek Favors, Ty Jerome, Theo Maledon, and a second-round pick are going to be headed to Houston for David Nwaba, Sterling Brown, Trey Burks, Marquise Chris, and a second-round pick. The key to all of this for the Rockets, from what I understand, is that second-round pick. They did all of this so they could acquire a second-round pick that was from the Atlanta Hawks initially, that is for next year. And then I tell you guys about next year's draft. I don't know if the second round necessarily is as important, but just the same, this is one of the most important drafts. You should be trying to get into it, not out of it. The Rockets just went through all of this just to get into the second round of this draft. So that's a big deal. I don't know how any of these players really help any of these teams. I think a lot of these teams, these players rather, are going to be off of these teams. Nwaba, let's see, it was Brown, Burke, and Chris who just got to the Houston. If they get waived, from what I understand, they can go back to Dallas, where they initially were last year in the playoffs. All three of those guys were with Dallas. Since they went to a third team since leaving Dallas, they can now go back to Dallas if they want. So chances are that might be an option for those three players, or a few of them, or one of them, whatever. I think the key to the first trade, Vit Krejcik, I don't know how to pronounce his name, of course, but his contract is what's interesting to me, because he's on a 3-year deal at $1.6 million a piece. So no matter how good or bad he is, that's basically a discount for any level of talent in this league. So that's definitely a good thing to have a guy at a pro level at that rate for multiple years. So that's really what stands out. I honestly don't know how many of these players are going to stick with either one of these teams, because both of these teams are on the same mission, which is to tank to high hell and not win as much as possible. So that's what I see there. Well, Houston is up in the air, honestly. It's up in the air, but the Thunder are definitely tanking for sure. So I don't see these guys helping either one of these teams. If anything, most of these guys are just going to get bought out, in my humble opinion. Yeah, Nwaba, Brown, Burks, Chris, and a second-round pick to Houston. OKC gets Derek Favors, or is that vice versa? It's vice versa. Sorry, you guys. Favors goes to the Rockets, so it's going to be interesting to see if Favors gets bought out, where he ends up. He could probably help some teams. Ty Jerome is a player with a lot of upside, so I like him added on to that situation. Mo Harkless probably getting bought out. You know, I don't know what they would want to do with him. Theo Maledon, another guy who has some upside, very good player. That I'm surprised OKC let go of, believe it or not. And again, you know, maybe OKC decides to use David Nwaba. He's a nice player to have part of your future, your situation. I like what he can do with your defense. Lou Dort, Poku, they have a nice little defensive play, little tandem down there with those players and some of the new guys they've added. So I can see them actually keeping Nwaba. Sterling Brown, like I said, Burks and Chris, I guess they're just going to waive those guys. I can see that being the case. So, yeah, not a whole lot to see there. Not a whole lot to see there. Mo Harkless getting traded twice in a week. What else will do? Hopefully he can get bought out and find himself in a situation like the Clippers once again, so he can compete for something. You know, that's really what it's about for a guy at this stage in his career. He's a role player, you know, play some defense, can rebound the ball. Just needs to find a place where he can just settle in and just be a part of the team. So that's pretty much it, man. That is what is going on. That's one of those situations where I didn't think these trades were really interesting, but since they're both connected together, they're interesting, I guess. Not too much movement in terms of the finances going back and forth. It's not really much money really made or saved, not that I saw. Most of these contracts, I wrote them down. Mo Harkless 1 year, $4 million. Trey Burke 1 year, $3 million. Nwaba 2 year, $5 million. So, you know, as I said, Krejcik with the 3 year, 1.6. Sterling Brown is a 1 year, $3 million. and Maladon's 1.9, and Ty Jerome's on a $4 million 1 year. So all very easy to move contracts. The guys who are attached to the more expensive contracts are pretty solid players. So yeah, nothing that's gonna rock your world, but it is signs that teams are creating draft roster spots and trying to get into next year's draft. So with these two teams being two of the teams that have the most young talent basically going forward, Rockets and Thunder, everything they're doing is based on what they want for the year after this year and the years to come. So yeah, that's what I see there. Nothing special, nothing that's gonna change life, but moves that will prelude to other moves more than likely down the road. So yep, that's what I got, man. BDF 44. Thank you all for rocking with me.